Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome. It's the Premier League day. Liverpool kickoff today against Bournemouth. The Premier League is back. I can't wait for it, bro. It looks like it has been it's like in my head. It has been a year since I actually watched the Premier League. But now it is today, people. Liverpool, Bournemouth. But also there is the Isak news, which is we're not going to talk about. Forget Isak. I have it in the title. Isak edges closer, and people don't like it. So let's say Isak is not edging closer to Liverpool. And there is something I noticed that actually Newcastle have briefed people not to talk about Isak, and for the last 3 days, no big journalists have actually tweeted about Isak or anything. But big up everybody that is here. Ben Doak is a here we go, Jamie, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Liverpool are getting weaker by the day now. Nunes, Diaz, Ben Doak. You're getting weaker by the day.
All these players, they don't start, so I think we're all right.
Of course. I'm joking. Yeah. But hit the like button, people, if you're here. This is the Premier League start today. This is the preview of the Premier League and also the first day of the league. We're going to be joined by Martin. We're going to be joined by Joe, of course, in a bit. Chelsea with Renato Veiga. They might keep Renato Veiga for the defensive problems. And Arsenal are looking to hijack Rodrygo deal from Manchester City, which is the latest news. But we need to talk about the football finally. We need to talk about the football. And we need to start. How's everyone doing first? Is everyone ready for today? You guys got your popcorn?
Football's back.
Can't wait.
Back. None of that Club World Cup friendly nonsense that we had. That people were running around celebrating. This is real football time, okay?
I did I tweeted yesterday, and I tweeted yesterday something, and I said that I'm expecting the top six to be the big six to be the top six this season at the end of the season, like top six, big six, and some
United
people found that wild. Yeah,
no,
big six. Yeah,
I think
it's genuine.
I think Spurs have more of a chance than United. I just don't think United. When we're doing predictions, my kind of hot take is that Amorim will be the first manager sacked.
Amorim will be the first one sacked. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think with the amount of money that they spent, and if he continues the same form, obviously I know he has new players now, but he needs to get them to adapt to what he wants to play. And if he continues the same form as they did at the end of last season, he go through their whole team. He hasn't improved one player within that squad. And if he's not able to get the most out of them next season at the very start, then I think he'll come under pressure really quickly. United fans like to think that they're going to be patient, but the fact that they spent so much money and they've seen zero improvement, and to say if they're 14th, 15th again, I think he'll be the first one gone. I don't think there'll be patience there to hang around with him.
completely disagree. I actually think Man United will be in the top 6. I
No.
genuinely think they're going to be in the top 6. How do you know?
Why do you think they'll be in the top 6?
Because I think what happened last season is not a reflection of how good Man United are, similar to what Chelsea when they finished 12th. I think the players they added up top, if you look at the underlying numbers for Manchester United, if you look at how Man United, like the style of play and how they played, I genuinely think that adding Cunha and Buemo and big up Joe for joining us. Big up everyone that joined us from Just Joe Football Show. Hit that like button, people. Subscribe. I'm sure a lot of you are new here. It's the Premier League. Welcome to the Premier League. It's today. I know you're new. I know you're the newbies here. You know what I mean? Even though you have history.
We're here to stay.
Yeah, a lot of people said that every year. It's the same. So like everyone, they keep saying, "Oh, we're here to stay." Actually, a lot of we're going to talk about Leeds because a lot of people actually are expecting Leeds to go down.
Yeah, because listen, anyone who says it, I would ask them to name me 5 players, and then we can have a conversation. If they can't, then we're not having a conversation.
But isn't that the whole point that we don't know 5 players of Leeds?
No, but that means you can't accurately tell me about what we're going to do if you don't know the players.
I don't know the players.
How different is your squad? How different is your squad from when you got relegated then?
Oh, we're talking Leeds. Big up people. Let's talk Leeds. Sorry, man. Jamie. Apologies, Jamie.
It's incredibly different.
Yeah, it's chalk and cheese, man. We've got a new goalkeeper, new right back.
Wait, hold up. You got a new goalkeeper. I remember that. Who was the old goalkeeper you had? Who was
Melier.
He was young, but he was like he used to make mistakes left, right, and center.
So many, mate. So many. So we brought in Lucas Perry, new right back. We're getting James Justin in as backup as well, which will be a decent backup option. Can play right.
A relegation player.
Yeah. Centre back partnership. Yaka Biol from Udinese. We brought in. Alongside Joe Rodon, ex Spurs.
Joe Rodon, the guy that played in Spain.
No.
Did he play in Spain?
No, he was in Italy, bro. He went France. Sorry, he went to France on loan, I think.
Okay.
Calvert-Lewin came in as well, did he?
Who? Sorry,
Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, that's going to be announced today. But yeah,
Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you definitely get relegated then.
Yeah, but that would say.
Bro, I'm telling you one thing. Calvert-Lewin is the worst. Okay, no, he's the second worst striker I've seen in the Premier League for about the last 10 years behind Richarlison. Like, it's astonishing, bro.
What I would say in response to that, though, him and Richarlison kept Everton up every year. So if he does that for us, I'll be fine.
Mo, there's been so many worse players.
Tell me the striker. Tell me a striker. Oh,
Patrick Bamford.
Yeah. Like
Patrick Bamford. Patrick Bamford. No, Patrick Bamford is better than
Bamford, though, I'd say. Like,
in the past
let me go through the rest of the squad. Let me go through. Gabriel Goodmanson at left back. Good player. Brought him from Lille. Swedish international. The 3-man midfield will have Ethan Ampadu, ex-Chelsea.
Great player. Like him. Love him a lot.
Yeah, playing the 6. On the right of him will be Ao Tanaka. Tanaka, get to know, genuinely, is a top player. I'm
taking notes.
Yeah. Anton Stack, that we brought in from Hoffenheim. Absolute giant, 6 foot odd, top player. Then we've Dan James.
Why are you laughing? Why is he laughing?
Because I know about Premier League. Why are you laughing? Dan James, right? But Dan James on the left, Willie Nonto. You know about Nonto? He was decent.
The Italian kid.
Has he gone on much? Because there was a lot of hype around him as a kid.
No, mate. If anything, I think he's regressed.
Love
Dan, by the way, I don't think your sound is coming through your mic. Then.
Oh,
sorry.
Am I wrong, guys? Dan, I don't think your sound is coming through your mic. His laptop.
Better.
Now we're talking. Now
it sounds smooth. Look at that. Listen to that voice.
And then Joel Pirro, who's.
So can I ask you something, Joe?
Go.
Who are you better than?
Wait. In 3 of the last 4 seasons in the Championship, he's been the top scorer. He scored more goals than Victor Gyökeres. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Who do you think you're better than?
We're better than
from the Premier League teams.
Yeah. So we're better than
from
Brentford.
The Championship.
We're better than Brentford. We're better than Burnley. Right. We're better than Sunderland.
No, I don't want you to mention Sunderland and Burnley.
Okay. So we're better than Brentford. It depends on how their season goes, but I think Wolves could go down.
All right. Yeah, they got Nouri out, Cunha out.
Cunha out. Yeah. They've made some signings, but Do I think we've got a better squad than them? Probably not. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can stay up just because they've got a better group of players. So I would say Wolves. I would say Brentford for sure. Okay, they've got Sharder, etc. This new guy, is it G? Is it no? Igor Tiago, whatever his name is. I don't know much about him, but we'll see what they've got. I think there's a look. West Ham, for example, they have a much better squad than Leeds United. I'm not even disputing that, but can they do it? Right? Can they do it? So, yeah, I think us and Sunderland stay up. I genuinely believe this. Sunderland have had an amazing window. I think both home grounds will play a massive part. Look, all we need is 10 wins, and I think we can get 10 wins in 38.
10 wins.
Yeah.
It sounds so easy. It sounds so easy when you say it like that.
10 wins.
I think we'll get 10 wins.
I don't know. To be honest,
we start on
I'm
Monday
ignorant.
against Everton, and then it's 9 wins. That's where I'm at.
just telling you. If people ask me,
I think Everton are going to finish ahead of United. That's how highly I rate Everton this year.
Everton will be good. Everton will be good.
Where are Everton's goals going to come from, though? Because I don't see where their goals are coming from. I don't.
The better at the back end of last year was decent. I think Moyes wants to get more out of him. I think Grealish coming into the team would be good, and Joy is good.
Beto was decent against Van Dijk.
Yeah,
and we lived.
All right, relax now. He had a good game. He had a good game against Liverpool, but I think
say he scores in 2 games against Liverpool and maybe like 3 goals elsewhere. I don't think that's a double-digit Premier League striker. I just don't think he is. I think he can be a handful, but I don't think him on his own is enough to keep. But maybe the enigma of Jack Grealish might actually be something that pushes Everton forward, right? And they 100%. Get results and goals from their big men at the back and things like that. But I think there's a lot of praise going Everton's way, and I don't see enough yet to think that they're any better than they were last season, to be honest.
But what like in what aspect are you looking from last season? Because the first half of the season they were terrible with Sean Dyche. When David Moyes came in, they were really good.
Yeah, but you're saying they'll finish above. Yeah, but is that a honeymoon period? You're saying they'll finish above United. United have gone and spent an absolute fortune on their forward line. Everton haven't gone anywhere near that. The ability in the front three at Manchester United, whether or not the manager clicks or he doesn't, and I'm still concerned about that for Amorim and his career. But if they don't click, they'll still outscore Everton's by a mile, I would suggest. Even if they don't,
they probably will. They probably will.
60 goals more that front three.
Like the thing is, at United last season was obviously creating chances, and I think I agree with you. They've obviously spent a lot of money. They'll bring in players that will potentially help that. But I think what I seen last season with Amorim was that even the players that he did have there, they were struggling to understand what he wanted from them, and I think he's still yet to prove that. I think David Moyes comes in. And I think they'll be a top half team. I just don't think United will be. So that's why I'm thinking. I think, listen, it doesn't matter what way United do. Every time you go into a season, you're kind of thinking, all right, they're probably going to finish 6th or higher or 7th or higher because they're United. But I just think if you're actually looking at the basis of it and taking away the kind of history of them, I think that they're not a good team. I just think we're living in like the past of what United was. I defensively, I look at them. I think midfield, they're going to get overrun. Like their goalkeeper, I think every single United fan wants a new goalkeeper. I don't think signing Cunha and Buemo and Tesco are going to solve all their issues. And I still think even if you look at them in pre-season, they still look a bit like bland in terms of like creating chances.
What about if they get Baleba? What if they got?
Yeah, if they get Baleba, that's a different thing as well. But apparently they're going to have to hold out to next season now. Like I think they should get a keeper, but the thing is, that's not me like saying it's harsh to United. I just think they can't do everything that they need to do in one window, and I just think it's going to be another kind of period where they're going to struggle, and that's what's going to happen.
But it's not a bad reconstruction of their weakest area, is it? Like I don't think it's that bad.
No.
I think for where they finished as well, to bring in over 30 Premier League goals and Sesko from the Bundesliga, one of the hottest prospects in terms of forwards in Europe at his age. I don't think that's a bad window of reconstruction for United in their weakest area.
But if you have to go and do an emergency stream, it's fine completely. I don't know.
No, it's cool, mate. It doesn't need to be an emergency, bro.
Wait, for DCL, come on.
Come on, man.
I don't see that. Here we go, though.
Is that breaking news about Everton as well, about Dobvik?
I don't know.
We
tried to get him, he turned us down.
I don't see. Where is the here we go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
No, that was yesterday, bro. You don't see the small clubs, bro. Don't worry about it.
Okay. He only gets 10 million views in the small ones.
Yeah,
Are you,
like,
Joe? Are
yeah.
you better than like? Is your side better than Fulham? Because I look at Fulham as a team that I look at their squad on paper and think they overachieve every season.
It's very
you think-
aging, isn't it? I was speaking to a Fulham fan, and obviously Marco Silva likes a very aging squad. They've not done any business up to yet. I think Muniz is obviously going to go to Atalanta. They try to bring in Kevin from Shakhtar, I believe, and maybe is it Ricardo Pepi, the American striker? Is it something like that? But yeah, they haven't done a lot, mate. And Jimenez is still their number 9. But I rate Marco Silva, so I don't think Fulham go down.
Oh,
Can I
no, I'm not
just,
saying they go down, but I mean, is
Yeah.
that somewhere like Leeds can look at that and go, they've got a squad that isn't too far from our own, and they
If
get
we-
mid-table in the Premier League. So it shows what a team as a unit can do
Yeah.
rather than a group of
100%.
individuals.
The sky's the limit for Leeds United. It's just beating this year's curse, and if we do, then watch us go, because the 49ers have got the door. So,
Can I just say something about this Man United thing? And I want to go big up Martin for joining us. Thank you so much, Luis, for the super chat. Appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. I think that everyone is underestimating how good Amorim is. What happened last season, I think that was the exception for Manchester United. I think now he has the players in a preseason. I think they have one game a week. I think one of the problems that they had last season is putting the ball in the back of the net. And now they added 3 forwards. 2 of them are top 8 in terms of GA contribution last season in the Premier League. So they added 2 of them to their team. I think they might get Baleba. And I think that will actually change the whole complexity of that midfield. The wing backs, Dorgo looked good. Diallo looks good. The defense was not that much of a problem for Man United. The thing about it is that they had so many injuries in and out of the team. The goalkeeper is the biggest problem they have.
I disagree.
The goalkeeper is the main problem they have.
I think the main problem is the midfield. They just don't.
And that's why they're adding Baleba, though.
I know, yeah, but until they add him, we can't say they've done that. I mean, if we're talking about going into this weekend, even if it wasn't Arsenal, it was any other team they'll play. I'll say the biggest issue is still the fact that in midfield they don't seem to control games. It's either they're 110 miles an hour with Bruno, or they're just getting run through. There's no pace in that midfield to cover ground. Like you look at the destroyer, who's Ugarte, does not cover ground at all, and you pair him with like a Casemiro, who's got no legs. You pair him with what's his name, Kobe Mainoo, talented but again has no pace whatsoever. The only person who really gets around is Bruno, and Bruno's not a destroyer. I mean, the reality is just that teams would look at United right now as constructed and say, we can run through them. Like the goalkeeper is the last line of defense, and don't get me wrong, Onana makes loads of mistakes, and that's been an issue that someone here said.
Not every team has to have a
Can I
team.
ask a question on Mainoo as well?
Yeah.
Is he overrated? Because I thought he was the second coming.
He's a generational talent.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I was getting called Seedorf and that I read.
He's generational talent. The problem is he plays for Man United.
Because he getting their
doesn't fit
11.
the
Is he going to start for them on Sunday? Probably not, right?
No.
He's got zero.
No.
He's got
Probably
zero pace.
Casemiro. Probably Casemiro. I actually think that
Casemiro,
Amorim on
Bruno.
Sunday will start Casemiro and Ugarte together. He will.
No,
He will-
Bruno
He'll
start.
play Bruno. Bruno's
No,
been-
he's gonna bench Cisco and he's gonna start Cunha in the first nine and
This
Bruno
is,
and
this
Cunha
is a
behind
good
him.
this is a good debate though, because this is an issue Amorim is going to have to fix. The fact that he's
Okay.
brought in Cunha and Buemo and Sesko, they're going to be kind of the 3 forward players. Then he's going to have to play, say, the 2 in midfield, which is going to likely be Bruno, because he needs to have him in the team because of the quality that he has. He's not going to be able to drop him. And who does he play with him? The issue is going to come into it then is that, yeah, but Baleba, the manager come out from Brighton and said the likelihood is Baleba is going to stay. So the likelihood is United are not going to get him.
And
United,
it's gonna
like
cost
even
100 million.
this summer, if
Right,
you
guys,
take away Liverpool have sold 200 million worth of players. United have spent the most money in this transfer window in terms of like actual spending and not bringing anything in. Like Chelsea spent money and Liverpool have spent money, but they've also sold players. So the expectation should be on United to go and get 6th, 5th, whatever it is. But they just still don't have the players that they need. That's why I think the pressure is going to come under them straight away. Because when you actually sit down and look at it, you're saying you have to spend 300 million nearly, and you're nowhere probably closer to being like a top 6 team because they don't have the players in it to be able to do that. Like
How
that's
is that
I think
even
that's
possible? They
precedent.
are better. They are better than currently. We are assuming that Isak is leaving, right? From Newcastle, right? Are we assuming that? So I think they're better than. As
They're not
of
going to get him
now,
out.
he's been
Nah, they
even
will.
Eddie Howe is saying that he's leaving.
Where's he said that?
No,
He
Eddie
literally
Howe,
said that
Eddie,
yesterday.
No, Eddie
I
Howe
don't
said
think
he
Eddie
wants
Howe
him in
said
the
He
squad.
alluded
Eddie
to
Howe,
this.
Eddie Howe said he wants him in the squad, and that
Well,
is
But
what
of course, he has to say that. I between the lines, I think that he's preparing for life after Isak, guys.
Okay.
I don't
Like,
know.
he's preparing
I
for
just think
life.
he's been dealt a
he has to.
hand, and he's being very professional about it, Eddie Howe, and he's just cracking on with his job at hand. That's just what he's
100%.
doing.
He can't do anything about it.
I think if
But
Isak comes back in on the 2nd of September, I think Eddie Howe will introduce him back into the group with a
100%.
stern
I agree.
conversation.
I agree.
But
I
it
never
wouldn't
said otherwise.
surprise
he will
me
leave.
if he doesn't leave. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
the brave
surprise me if he
man,
doesn't leave.
Brave man.
Who?
If Eddie Howe brings him back in September, it's brave.
Why
Martin,
is
you
it
have to
brave,
bring it back.
Martin?
If he doesn't go, he has to play football. Like
It's a
not gonna-
£150 million
Newcastle.
asset. It's not brave
I've
putting him
got
back
a
in
lot
the
of
squad, is
Newcastle
it?
fans, they're finished up there. They're burning shirts and all sorts. They're
But-
going up there with them.
With anything, right? Score a goal, it's forgotten about.
No,
Football fans-
I said that, and they've said no.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
say that.
You know Newcastle, not with Newcastle fans. Newcastle fans
Disagree.
are like that.
Disagree. Any football fan, if he comes off the bench and scores, yeah, they're celebrating.
There'll have to be
Nonto refused to, I'm not playing
Yeah.
for the club. I'm going Everton. Yeah, we all hated him. We called him
Can
a
I,
rat.
Joe? Let me ask you then,
He
Joe.
go on
What's the
strike and move
percentage
out.
of him? What's the
Yeah, he
percentage
went
of
on
him
strike,
staying,
yeah.
Joe?
He refused
Guys,
to.
what's the percentage of him
You
staying?
just
Am I
showing
gonna go
how
through the
football fans
panel?
are fickle then.
Okay, guys,
Yeah,
I'm
they
gonna go
are.
through the
They
panel.
are. Of course they are.
Tell me, Joe, what's the percentage of him staying at Newcastle? In your opinion?
I don't know. I'm going to give you any
20%.
maths. I'm not good at maths. 50-50. I don't know. No, I actually think he stays. I've maintained this with Rodrygo. I think I've maintained it with Isak. I think he'll stay.
Mm-hmm.
Call me crazy, but I just think it'll be too difficult. I think it'll be a case of, right, you can go next summer. I don't know. It's 2 weeks
Joe,
left.
do you know what makes it so difficult as well is that now there's only obviously one option for Isak to go to because nearly every other club's done his business, right? So Liverpool are the only club that could buy him in the Premier League. And then in terms of Newcastle, where are the options? Because every other club signed their options. So it's too late in the window for them, unless they go and buy Nicholas Jackson, which I don't think is where they want to be at in terms of who they're bringing in. I just think it's too late in the day for Newcastle to go and do all that business.
I think if Liverpool get presented with a left winger, that is, they'll settle with that and just go, do you know what? We'll take the left winger. We've got Ekatike up top. We'll be back next summer. I do, honestly. I just think they can get a left winger much easier.
I think that to most question, there is a 98% chance he plays for Liverpool. And I'm just going like 98. I'll say the 2% is just like anything can happen in football.
2%
But I'll say the 98% is because like we have just seen, and as an Arsenal fan, I can speak to this like a lot. Like we've seen instances where players will say they want to leave. The club says, no, want you to stay, and eventually they leave. I mean, we had it with Van Persie, we had it with Fabregas, we had it with Nasri, we had it with so many players during a period of time when like we were struggling in terms of in the league and they left. I think Newcastle is in the same position Arsenal were, albeit they're on a upward trajectory whilst we're on a downward trajectory. I just think that there's a high percentage of this. In my mind, he's a Liverpool player. I think we're just playing the waiting game. That's what I believe.
In my mind, he's a Liverpool player as well. I swear to
Yeah.
God, in my mind, he's a Liverpool player.
Do you see a world, though, where they can get a left winger and they're happy for a season?
Yes.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah.
No, I think Liverpool want a striker. There was talk saying that Liverpool, the priority was Isak, but they just didn't move from earlier in the window because they didn't feel like Newcastle would be able to budge on it. It seems a bit strange the way they've gone about it in terms of if it was his priority. But it's like Isak has said, he only wants to go to Liverpool and he doesn't want to play for Newcastle ever again. So I don't think listen, there is a chance, like as you said, if he's the 2nd of September, he's like, he has to play football for Newcastle, then that'll happen. But I just think right now it's the most likelihood option is that Newcastle want to get someone in, and once they do that, then the deal will just move pretty quickly to get Liverpool.
Why do you think, Jamie, no second bids come in? Because it's been 2 weeks now since that last bid. I would have thought if Liverpool wanted to just get it done, Newcastle or the agent would have got a price and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, I'd say because obviously there was reports saying that Liverpool were didn't understand why Newcastle had said no so firmly. But then I think the reason being is, and I'd say there's discussions going on behind the scenes, is that we're not selling them until we bring in a replacement. We don't look like idiots where we sell our best striker, our best player, and then not have anyone in to replace him. And then plus that, they'll probably end up paying a premium if they do sell him. Like right now, they don't have that money. Do you know what I mean? So I'd say they're just like, we want to get it sorted. Once we get that sorted, then we'll let him go and we'll come to the table and we'll negotiate. So I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, listen, all I have to say about this Isak deal, and I'm tired of this saga, to be honest, is that I don't think it decides the Premier League, but I think it decides a lot about how we're going to view the table and how we're going to view the chances of Liverpool winning the league.
I think signing Guehi would be bigger than signing Isak right now, because if Konate or Van Dijk get injured, I think we're in a lot of bother. So I think you still have Salah, you still have Ekitike, you still have Gakpo, you still have Vert if we don't sign Isak, but I think Guehi is someone that would be a big addition to the team.
How likely is that deal to happen? Because for me, with Mark Guehi, I just feel like that is a risk to take with the World Cup on the horizon when he's guaranteed games at Palace all season, can leave on a free. Obviously, he'll get a move whether he moves this summer or next summer. I just think that's a risk.
I was thinking about that though, but like think about the England team. Like how likely is it that like he won't go to the World Cup? You know what I mean? Like what players are they going to bring in that are going to replace him? And I think
it's true, but I'd want to be
competitive at Liverpool. He will be competitive at Liverpool. There's no doubt. He will. Liverpool are going to play 50, 60 odd games. He's going to play 20, 30, like potentially 40 games.
You keep saying that, but you know that if Konate and Van Dijk is fit, all the important games you'll play your strongest squad.
Yeah, 100%. You know that. But when you're a player, if you're a player looking to go to the next stage, a player looking to improve, you don't look at a team and go, yeah, I don't really fancy myself with them. Do you know what I mean? You're thinking, I'm going to go there and be number one. And that's what I think Guehi will be thinking.
Do you know as well, a bit, but this this might sound wild. Sorry, Mo. Sorry, I know I'm hijacking her. The fact that Guehi is so religious as well, right? And I know this sounds mad, but I genuinely believe he'll be like, do you know what? I'm chill. Like, I'm chill. It's in God's hands kind of vibe. I'll just sit back. It's fine. I'll do my season at Palace. God willing, it'll happen. Like that. I don't think he'll push for a move. I don't think he's that kind of character. And I think you'll see a world in which he finishes his year and then he can go to anybody, can't he? So yeah, I think that's what'll happen.
Jamie, I want to respond to Jamie for a point, because Jamie's making a very good point that the players come in and they actually back themselves. So I agree with this. I have the same energy for the likes of Simmons, the same energy for the likes of Eze, the same energy for the people that go to Manchester City. If anyone goes to Manchester City, you need to battle, unless they are going for Rodri. Like, you're not going to be able to shift Rodri. You're not going to back yourself against Rodri. But for Guehi, the problem is he's going against two of the best center backs in the league in a World Cup year. Knows that Konate is, as a defender, he's a fan favorite as well. And it's going to take time. Like, people love Konate at Liverpool. When he's fit, Liverpool fans say he's similar to this. He's top 5 center backs in the world. And Guehi is coming from Crystal Palace. And I don't think Guehi has the hype of someone like Eze, for example. Like Eze, a lot of Arsenal fans already are saying that Eze, if he comes in, he's going to shift Odegaard, for example. Even some big pundits are saying that Odegaard needs competition. No one is saying that Konate needs an upgrade or a competition, especially this season. Like, you don't see any Liverpool fan is saying that, oh yeah, Guehi is coming in to shift Konate from his position. No one's saying that, Jamie. Everyone is saying that we need backup, which is Guehi. That's why I think he's reading the media and he's reading the Liverpool, like pundits and the Liverpool, and everyone is saying that you're going to come in, you have to fight for your games, but if Konate is fit, we're very sorry. Unless Konate is injured, Konate is playing, is starting the game. Yeah. And in a World Cup here, it's hard.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And I think most people are saying that he's probably not be a replacement, he'd likely be a backup. But I would think if Liverpool... So the issue right now is the deal. Like, Palace want to get more money from him than Liverpool don't want to pay when you're able to get him for a free next year. And the thing is with Mark Guehi is he's fine. He doesn't... like, as you said there, he's coming up to a World Cup year. He's happy to stay at Palace for another year and potentially go on a free. I think what's going to happen is it's going to drag out a little bit, and then Palace are going to be like, we don't want to lose you on a free next year. We want to get something for you. and then that's when it'll start to accelerate a little bit. But Liverpool are there, and he might be reading the media, yeah, 100%. But I think if you're a player of his caliber, and I think you could make the argument that like he could take another step and get to say Kanate's level, and that's how highly I rate him. But that's up to the player. Do you know what I mean? Like Leone coming into Liverpool, I know he's only 18 years of age, but he's probably saying, right, I'm gonna have to learn from these and bide my time a little bit, and then maybe push on as the seasons go on. And I think Guehi right now, I think he definitely has the capability to come into Liverpool and push Konate and Van Dijk over a 50, 60 game season. I don't think that would be an issue. And England need him. It's not like he's not going to go to the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? He's probably England's best centre back more than anyone.
Yeah, but I'd have said that would be the case if it was Gareth Southgate, who had personal favourites in terms of like he wouldn't drop players regardless of whether they're playing or not. I think it might be different with Tuchel. We don't know, to be honest. But I believe that as well. Like players don't turn around and go, "Oh, I'm not going to join the club because I don't play." They just always believe they're better, right? So
no, I believe definitely players do that. What is this? Definitely players do that.
No, I disagree.
Absolutely not.
Not when they're moving to a big club, Mo. Like when you say if you're taking that step from Palace to Liverpool, like you're looking at it and you're saying the trophies I could win, the levels I could reach. Yes, there's going to be competition, but like that's the whole point of like when you're moving to a club that has a lot of really good players, there's going to be competition for places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you end up like Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, true. You can that can happen. But Calvin Phillips,
when he went finished.
Finished. 100%. But he would have went there. He would have got.
He was England Player of the Year 2 years in a row. He took the move to Man City, and he's never looked like his career has never looked the same.
We'll talk about that.
But he's Dan is spot on.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it doesn't work out. But I'm saying is that like most time they'll want to take that step.
I just don't believe that. I understand everything you're saying, Jamie, but I think Mo's point about the level of competition going into a World Cup year, he's better off. He's better off staying for one more season and then going to Liverpool if he really wants to play for Liverpool. I kind of err on the side of Joe saying that Mark Guehi will let it what will be. And he'll kind of fall into that category. If a bid comes in, he'll probably have the discussions, entertain it.
Look at how the Newcastle thing went, Dan. He could have kicked off then. I'm not playing for Palace, etc. And he just sat, man, chill.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, that probably raises his value. Although his contract's obviously running out and his value won't go up, I think the demand for him will only increase with his behaviour and his mannerisms being like that, because that's a rarity in today's game.
And also, if he goes on a free, he makes more money from a signing and bonus.
No, but all what Jamie's talking about, because when you hear Jamie talking, Jamie's not talking about Guehi himself. He's talking about Palace would want the money, not Guehi. Yeah. He's talking about Palace would want that.
Palace have already lost 20 million, so they can't be viewing it as. They must view the risk of losing him as bigger than the losing that amount of money, because they could have taken 60 million last season. They didn't. They said no. They've held on. We're now talking figures around 40 million, and that's still not happened.
Liverpool even don't want to pay 40 million then.
They want like 35, and it's a deal. But either way, Palace have lost 20, 25 million there. They're not bothered. They're sort of saying, look, we'll let him go.
Yeah.
They value him in the team at being more worth to them than 25 million in the bank.
Why are Liverpool fans think that we're saying that no player should join you? I'm telling you, there's a difference. Liverpool, I'm going to give you an example, Jamie, what I mean. If you sign a player from the ilk of, like, for example, Norgard to be a backup centre back, there are a lot of centre backs in the league, for example, that will be happily join Liverpool, try to get some game time here and there. People get triggered because we're talking about the captain of Crystal Palace, an England international in a World Cup year, right? That is arguably one of England's best centre backs, right? Currently. We're not talking about a backup centre back. Let me give you an example. If you get Kivior, for example, from Arsenal, and I'm giving you, if Liverpool go and do a deal with Kivior, I think Kivior will happily be joining Liverpool, for example, to try to play. If you go to even Chelsea and get a Tosin, for example, or a Chalobah, they would be happily going to Liverpool and say, yes, I'm going to come in, try to get game time, improve myself, and actually get game time for the World Cup, whatever, something like that. But to go to the captain of Crystal Palace and tell him, come in, We have two of the best centre backs in the world currently. One of them is wanted by Real Madrid, but we're not selling him. So he's going to play this year. This is a World Cup year. It will be hard to do that. Do you get my point? The difference. I'm not saying that nobody would want to join behind Konate.
No, I get that.
There are levels to joining behind Konate. Saliba
100%.
and Gabriel. You will not be able. For example, Arsenal will not be able to convince Konate. For example, if Konate is for sale and Arsenal go to Konate, as good as Konate is, he's going to go and say, if Saliba and Gabriel are fit, every game Arteta's going to play them. Where am I going to play? I'm going to play the cup games. Even though as good as he is, some players think like this. There is competition at Chelsea, with all due respect to Chelsea, when you have Gittins, Neto, you know what I mean, a young Estevao. Yes, you can go and battle for yourself, but you're not going to go and try to shift Palmer from the 10 position, Caicedo from the DM. You're not going to do that.
No, I keep having this debate with loads. Everyone thinks that top players are happy to play on the bench, and then you get, well, they'll play the last. Top players want to play in top games. They want to play in the top games. And I think some players will do it for 12 months, but I think 12 months is generally the cut-off point. Listen, I've got Savinio, 3,000 odd minutes, wanting to leave because he's going to get less minutes next year.
Julian Alvarez was not even the top striker in the world.
Over 3,500 minutes, and he went, see you later, I'm going Erling Haaland's in my spot. I don't get why people think players are selfish. They're not fans of the club. People think, as fans, I get it. We've got this emotional attachment, and these players can do no wrong. Like Isak, for example, yes, I know what he's doing is wrong, but at what point did he stand up and go, I'm a Newcastle fan, I watched him as a boy, I played. It's just romance that isn't there. It is a job to them.
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, though, I have heard in the past football players like the greats talk about how they needed players to come in to push them, right? And sometimes, like, resting on your laurels, if you feel like I've always got my spot, right? It's a different type of mentality to be able to drive yourself forward. And I think it was Henry who talked about, like, they always wanted to see players come in because that meant the quality of the team was improving. We also meant more competition for themselves, so it pushed them to be better, right? So yes, there are scenarios where players will not join because they feel the team is too great. But at the same time, I feel like players in those teams also want great players to join them as well, because one, increases the chance of them winning more games, because if one of them gets injured, someone can replace them. But two, as well, it just pushes them. They know that they can't just rest on their laurels. They can't just be guaranteed like straight away. And I think that's where the balance is. That's where the manager comes in being able to sort of manage and sort that out. So I see it both ways, to be honest.
Let me do this because I want.
You didn't know Gan will be at Arsenal in 5 years.
No, but he's 33, so I doubt he'll be playing football.
But that's what I mean. He knows it's 2 year Gan, and then I'm off.
Of course, but he joined the midfield knowing that Zubimendi and Declan Rice are there.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Sometimes the players and the agents have to take this responsibility as well.
Who's this? Norgard?
Well, no, just that was an example.
Yeah, it was an example. Yeah.
Norgard is 32 years old. That plays for Bournemouth. His last big contract. He wants to join a club like Arsenal to play the cup games.
He was also captain there.
No, as long as he knows.
Come on, you know the difference between Mark Guehi at Crystal Palace is different than Norgard.
I'm just saying, no, you said captain, World Cup, and I'm saying the parallel.
The stature of Norgard is different than. Let me do this. Rodri is available. Ederson and Savio not traveling. We'll talk about the football now and how do we see the league. Finally. Thank you, James.
Can I just ask a quick question on that? Martin, is Trafford going to be number one then? Until Donnarumma?
For about 10 days, yeah.
Right, okay, cool.
Which, by the way, yeah, we'll get into, and that's causing all sorts of issues at the minute.
Yeah, we'll talk. I want to talk about City. Maino is overrated, like you didn't see him at the Euros. The issue is United. They never had an elite DM in his prime. Pogba faced the same issue. Yeah, bro. Kobe Maino is a great player. I swear, if Kobe Maino played for Liverpool or played for someone like City or played for Arsenal, he's very good.
Can I just ask that though? Right. So I hear what you're saying. I watched him in the Euros. He was quality, right? But a generational talent, you build a team around. A generational talent doesn't ride bench.
Not just that. Not just that.
His development was
Wait.
hindered massively,
No,
guys.
so, right, okay.
Wait,
so
wait,
if you're
one
telling
second.
me he's still generational, what
No,
we're
he's
doing?
not generational anymore. The problem is when he
What,
joined
so in
Man
a
United.
year he's gone from
No, but
generational
I'm
to
gonna tell you.
ungenerational?
I'm gonna explain to you.
Okay.
When a player joins a club, when a player is in the club, if the development is going backwards and he's not being he's not being developed well, the system is not working, the club is under pressure. I think that him being a talent, he needs development. He was 18 years old, had pressure on his shoulders, and actually,
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I just think he's been overgassed.
So,
Clearly.
and also, let me, and there's a great, this is a perfect example of what we're trying to say. The example is the Euros, not anything after that.
Yeah.
So we have to go specifically back to a point in time where we saw him at his best, right? And when we do that, when people talk about players and they just talk about one specific time, that tells you that everything afterwards has not been that great. The problem with Maino, the problem with Maino is I think at the Euros, what helped him was the fact that he had someone like Declan Rice who had a poor Euros, but he had the legs to just cover so much ground that allowed Maino to flourish. At United, he doesn't have that, so you've seen the deficiencies come out more and more. Seriously, if you're playing against United and Maino is playing, he's the trigger point in terms of
everyone has deficiencies.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Exactly. So
Declan Rice has deficiencies. McAllister is slow. Gravenberch has deficiencies. Everyone. But it depends on the system and how you look. Look at how Gravenberch looked phenomenal because the coach is great. The team around him looked good. You utilize the abilities of Gravenberch. That's why Arne Slot was fantastic. He made Gravenberch one of the best DMs in the league last season.
But the issue United have is, so when young players come through, so we've seen it with Mainu and Garnacho, they have to play them because the players that they have currently playing the team aren't good enough. So when you get like really good talents like Mainu and Garnacho, I did a video last summer when Mainu was coming through. He scored the goal against Liverpool, and I said they need to protect him and not play him in every single game. And I got absolutely rinsed by United fans saying that you don't know what you're talking about. He's going to be unbelievable. And then you see it now where he picks up a big injury and they can't play him. They don't know how to fit him into the squad. And you're constantly having to play him at such a young age. Like if you think back to when Foden was coming through at Man City, they had obviously the players that they were able to put ahead of Foden and they were able to use him sparingly in games and develop him as a player. And there was loads of talk in England saying that Foden should be starting. And Guardiola was like, I'm going to bring him in and out of the team when I see fit and I'm going to develop him. And then he goes on. I know last year he wasn't the best, but the year before he was player of the season.
Jojo, hold on. I'm going to take a step further, Jamie. 2 years ago on the football terrace, I said that Kobe Mainoo should leave Manchester United and go to a better team to develop. And they were like, no, how dare you? And I'm like, look at him now. Imagine if this kid was developed somewhere else.
This is where I'll get absolutely battered, right? And it's fair and I'm willing to take it. But I would argue that Foden isn't consistent enough to be considered up here. You can't, for me, and I know Martin won't agree with me, right? But a City fan Daps did yesterday. You can't have I'm the player of the year, then the following season just totally rein it in. Do we see consistency from Palmer for him to be considered up here, for him to be put in the same conversations as, for me, the consistent Bukayo Saka? I'm not so sure.
Can we not go into this conversation now?
No, I'm just saying,
no, don't you dare open it. No, you're giving him the ammunition. He already hates Foden. He's got an agenda on Foden already. Who? Don't give him the more ammunition.
I don't hate
Foden.
Yeah, so he gets battered. Does Saka and for some reason, I think sometimes Foden gets a free ride.
He does because he wins trophies.
Out of sight, out of mind.
I'm stepping out of this argument. I'm not. I'm going to be subject to him. He's
out
my
of sight,
boy.
out of mind, isn't it? So
he's my boy.
I get it. He's your boy. 100. Calvin was my boy.
Newcastle won't get a caliber of players to Isak as he is the best. It won't happen. Newcastle will get Wissa and sell Isak. Then they will move on Jackson and Isak will go. They move on to Jackson. That is a good argument. I think we'll see. The problem is people, people are not realizing there's only 2 weeks left at the window.
But Wissa is Callum Wilson's replacement, though. He is not Isak's replacement. He's not coming in. Yeah,
but also it's life. Like our best players, like when Henry left Arsenal, we didn't buy an equivalent to Henry because we couldn't buy an equivalent to Henry. Sometimes your best players are going to move and you're gonna have to deal with it. It's just that's part and parcel of football.
It depends. Luke said, guys, hit that like button. There's about 800 people in the house and we're not even on 200. Guys, the like button underneath your live chat. Come on. Thank you, Luke, for reminding everyone. Guys, hit that like button. Come on. Parish has said that he's going to be sold. Google it. I just Googled it when you sent that, Ola. I know you're a Liverpool fan. And he said players come and go. And actually, I get it. Crystal Palace want the money, but they want certain amount of money to make it worse. Liverpool gets Kivior. He's a good backup. Would you? He's a good backup. He's not a bad backup.
He's good backup with Arsenal. Why would they sell him?
I'll tell you what. No, seriously. He makes one mistake every game, right? You just hope that he makes it in the first minute and you don't concede. And trust me, he's solid.
Remember, Saliba went on loan in the beginning. Yes, to develop 100%. That's why. That's the difference. Can we talk about the football, Don? And how do people see Liverpool football now? How do people see Liverpool currently in the first game, the first 3 games in the league? Are we now going into this?
They'll be open.
9 points, top of the league.
They'll be open though. I think they will concede goals. I think it's interesting, especially in the Community Shield and in preseason games. I've watched obviously all the preseason games. I think Slot is trying to figure out what way he wants to set up. He seems to be telling Frimpong to push on and then Kirkes to sit in as like a 3-man back 3 with. I know Gravenberch isn't playing tomorrow or tonight. But Gravenberch sitting in front, and McAllister maybe coming in as a double pivot or Szoboszlai. But I do think teams Palace did it really well. They pushed up Sarr onto Kirkes, and then they had Muniz going on the overlap. So there was so much space on that side, and Gakpo was having to come back like 80 yards to try and cover him, and he just wasn't able to get to him. So I think right now Liverpool they're a little bit in limbo in terms of how they set up properly with this kind of new team, because you need to remember they had Trent before, who was kind of like, he did it obviously push on, but he was more kind of stepping into midfield as like a playmaker, quarterback type thing. And Vert's playing as a 10 now. That's going to be the focal point in terms of creativity. But I do expect them to win the first 3 games, but I just think it'll be kind of like 3-1s, 3-2.
You guys know the first 3 games.
Yeah, they've Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle, and who's the other one? Arsenal.
And Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal, yeah. 3 wins. Easy.
When was the last time? Okay, number one. I'm not sure this Isak deal has. We know how fired up Newcastle will be against Liverpool. We also know that Arsenal don't lose big games. Okay. I am putting it as a sentence. They don't lose big games. They haven't since the 4-1 against
They lost in the semi-final last year.
They don't lose against the big 6, Jamie. They haven't lost against Liverpool. They haven't
lost
against City. Lost against Chelsea. They haven't lost against United. They haven't lost the big games.
Yeah.
I think they might draw against Arsenal. They might win the other 2. I'm not too sure. Until I see the new system with Frimpong and Kirkes in the Premier League and how they play, there's too many new players. Ekitike looks very good against first. But as you said, today, who's going to play the DM? McAllister and who? Curtis Jones or Szoboszlai?
I don't know what way he's going to set up. It could be Curtis Jones, yeah, or you could do McAllister and Szoboszlai. McAllister is still carrying a little bit of a knock. That's why he didn't start the Community Shield.
It's Szoboszlai and how good at Bournemouth? That is the question.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth have been decimated. Like, do you know what I mean? They're after losing their goalkeeper and 2 centre backs and a left back. So, like, that's going to be. I think they might start a little bit slow. So I think Liverpool will be able to
down Bournemouth, because I think there's not enough been said about how much those players going will affect them, because they've lost a lot of quality.
Yeah,
but they still have the same. They still have the same
goals. Like we said about goals earlier, like Semenyo's
still there. Evan is still there. Brooks is still there.
Quality elsewhere on the pitch, and I think they had blips last season, and they didn't finish that strongly as well. And
but then they improved on the goalkeeper, for example, was Petrovic. So they improved the goalkeeper.
Petrovic and Kepa, I think, are probably similar level keepers. I don't think there's huge disparity between the 2.
I hear you, but I
think going to get smoked 4-0 today.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool have got it really favourable with the first 2 fixtures, obviously having the Friday and the Monday as well. I think that obviously gives them a little bit more time. It will be. Do you know what? It wouldn't even surprise me if Sky are in there somewhere suggesting to keep this Isak movement until that game's build up, and then it's just all the talk if it explodes. And
Don't be saying it's conspiracies, Dan.
We've seen it happen. Didn't Torres play against Chelsea?
There's no way after the
it was his debut.
Isak's not going to Liverpool before that Newcastle game.
100% no. I don't.
And it will be all the conversation in the build up of that, won't it? That whole weekend, the whole talk will be about that fixture, and Isak being obviously the talk.
Yeah, and
it's going to be the talk anyway.
Isak won't even be in the building. Isak will be banished from St James's Park that day.
I can see Newcastle beating Liverpool. Actually, funny enough, because Newcastle
without Isak.
Yeah, the reason why I said this, I always believe that Newcastle is such
that Gordon.
I think Newcastle is such an emotional team that feeds off the crowd, and that crowd is going to be absolutely raucous against Liverpool. I can see them winning just based off emotion only.
Yeah,
Newcastle in the Premier League, in the Premier League, I think Newcastle are the one team who feed off the crowd. I think two teams. Newcastle and Liverpool are the two teams where the crowd can have so much of an effect on how a game goes.
But can I go back to what Dan said before I do the super chat? Okay, the way Dan spoke about the first 3 games, he's like adamant, like he was.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, like 9 points. Are you in the camp of like Liverpool are heavily favorites to win the league, even without signing Isak?
Yeah, no, I think Liverpool are heavily favourites to win the league. My only worry with Liverpool is that, and this is a genuine concern, is that Slot meddles more than he needs to. When I think the players fit into last year's system pretty easily with very minimal adaptations. It's whether or not he tries to do too much. I think he's just bought players that can sort of mimic what he already had and just take them to another level and refresh things. So that would be my only concern with Liverpool. But yeah, I think I like Arsenal's recruitment. I think Gyökeres is what they needed. But I just think by the time we've played 3 games, Liverpool will be comfortably top of the league on 9 points.
So we're assuming that Liverpool will go to Newcastle and win, but Arsenal will not go to Man United and win.
No, Arsenal might, but I just think they'll probably.
But you're more confident but you're more confident of Liverpool going to Newcastle winning than Arsenal going to Old Trafford and winning.
No. Because you said
I'm trying to get. Yeah. Arsenal played the first game at United.
Yeah,
Sunday.
but Arsenal will lose to Liverpool, so they won't be on 9 points.
So what are you basing that on? What are you basing that on?
Pressure on Arsenal than there would be Liverpool. No expectations, but I think there's more pressure on Arsenal, especially in
there's more pressure on Arteta than Arsenal.
Right.
But like that, it's obviously Arteta.
I don't think anyone is really talking about Arsenal winning the league, being the strongest. I think Liverpool have spent so much money already on a team that was already fantastic last season. They are inevitably favourites to win this Premier League.
100%.
Yeah,
and then they could. And then by the time September comes around, Ola's 98% certain that they've then added £150 million best striker in the league into their squad. That Liverpool are favourites. And the strongest favourites I think the Premier League's had in years. I do think Arsenal
even without Isak, Dan. Even without Isak, even without Isak,
I think so.
I don't even think they've got the strongest squad without Isak there.
I don't think they need the strongest squad. They didn't have the strongest squad. No, Martin, you can interrupt me all you want, but they didn't have the strongest squad last season, and they walked the league. So you can say what you want
because everyone fell off.
Yeah, but
did they need the squad, Martin? No, they didn't.
I don't think we fell off. I think the lads were in Dubai partying.
I still think
Martin said everyone fell off, Jerry.
No, I said everyone else fell off.
Sorry.
No, everyone else fell off. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to sit here and lick Liverpool's rear end because the rest of the world are doing it. They're a very good team.
So how are you not thinking that Liverpool have the best team? Liverpool don't have the best squad currently. Liverpool don't have
squad is where I'm arguing.
Yeah, but they have the best.
They have the deepest.
They're not. I'll tell you what. If they do bring in Guehi and Isak, they might have the best squad.
And Rodrygo. We can all do that.
No, Martin, you don't have the best squad. You can sit here on your bias.
I think City's team is poor.
I think you have to look at this logically.
We do. We have better midfielders than them. Man for man, as you go down. We've got deeper defenders. The attack.
Can we go? Okay, let's okay.
Do it, man for man. Let's go.
If Matthias Nunes is at right back, instantly you're in trouble.
I like this. I like this.
Liverpool City fan can't say. Let's do the 11.
I like this. Let's go through it.
Yeah.
We got Rodri, Nico Gonzalez, Reinders, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Shirky, Foden. I'm assuming that's the midfield. If they bring Rodrygo, right? And Gundogan. 8 midfielders. Liverpool have McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Wirtz, Harvey Elliott is leaving or staying?
Probably going to leave, yeah.
Okay, so Liverpool have 5.
Training as well. He'll probably play a bit
if I'm wrong. Correct me. And Endo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Please, like maybe I forget a name. In terms of depth, I think City have depth. In my opinion, Rodri, if he is not as fit as he was before the injury. I know, but again, I can't, like, the guy has been away from football for 1 year. 1 year. And I'm not expecting him to come back fully on the same Rodri as before the injury. City might have the numbers, but I believe, for example, the number 10, Wirtz is better than the number 10s that City have, in my opinion. On paper, at least we haven't seen it yet, but on paper, he is. I think everyone would agree with this.
Well, I think for the last 2 seasons, he's been better than Foden over.
Exactly. But that's why on paper. That's why I'm saying. That's why Dan. That's why I followed.
in Premier League than Wirtz had in the Bundesliga.
No, but last
season
he did play with the year.
Foden couldn't even get into the Man City team last year.
Over
Foden had seasons, Martin. He didn't, did he? So,
but he did.
We didn't know.
It's a fact. He did. At GA, he has more.
He had more GA.
Actually checked it.
Who does?
Foden over the last 2 years, guys, had more GA because there is one season when Foden in the league only had 30 GA. The season he won Player of the Year. You guys remember that?
Which is why he got Player of the Year.
That's why, and that's at that time.
Yeah, but he's not had a better. He's not had
the agenda.
No, of course not. Hold on.
The agenda, Martin, is coming from your own mouth. We're all obviously in the camp that Foden didn't have a great season last year. It wasn't comparable to
he was injured. He was injured.
He wasn't injured for the whole season, though, was he? How many games did he play last season?
How do you know?
Because
he was on the bench. He just wasn't getting in the team.
I watch football every weekend.
But also, Martin. Sorry. Objectively, though, even if he was injured or not, he still didn't have a good season.
I'm saying not what happens at Chelsea.
Well, I'm just saying though, if objectively, because every time he played, even if he was injured or not, he didn't play well enough. So we can actually objectively say last season.
Nobody played well at City last season.
Of course, but we're just talking about Foden.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
There's a difference between being injured and not playing well, Martin. Just to let you know, because Foden had 28 Prem games last season. If he was injured, he wouldn't have played.
He played injured with the last 10 games.
Okay, that's the thing that people say. Dan, just to get you, because I've done this with Nobbins, I've done this with Vater, I've done this with Patrick. All the City fans are being informed that he played with an injury, like Enzo Fernandez played with an injury 2 seasons ago. That's what they have been told. Do we know it's true? Probably. I'm not going to say that people are lying. I'm just going to say that they say he plays with injury. They are, by the way, a lot of people are assuming that Foden will get back into the team. I actually am not sure about that he's going to get back into the team right away. Especially if they get Rodrygo, though. I don't see where Foden fits, to be honest. Rodri, Reinders, Shirky, or Bernardo. I don't see where Foden fits currently.
We're talking about City going forward. My big concern with City is they haven't actually addressed like defensive issues. Like they're going to start with Mateus Nunes and Rico Lewis at right back. Centre backs, they have Guardiola, I think, will push in. He was probably one of their best attacking threats last season as at left back. They've obviously brought in Aiton Uri, who is okay. Like he's probably wasn't in the top 5 left backs last year in the Premier League. And then they have Ederson, who's been like on the decline for a good while. So Trafford is likely going to maybe come in, but you don't know what way he's going to perform.
Hold on? I wanna respond to some points. Sometimes people and us, all of us, say stuff that are givens and they are not. For example, Jamie has presented an argument that Gvardiol was a left back last season. I would argue that Gvardiol was one of the best left centre backs last season when he played for City at the end of the season, and that's why they ended up the season winning a lot of games. The second point, Jamie, that you said, and it's a given for you, is that Aiton Uri was not top 5 left backs. All his stats are better or similar to Kerkez. All his stats, everything.
No.
I just looked.
We go to Kerkez, Cucurella, Who else? Robertson last year. Lewis Skelly. That's 4. Trying to think who else was in top 5.
He probably played a lot more games than Lewis Skelly though, which might.
I can't
No,
put Lewis
he
Kelly there, guys, because Lewis Kelly overall, he actually completed, I think, 90 minutes. So his stats are skewed because of this. What Dan is saying is completely true.
And Nori didn't complete more than that because Olu shook his head.
No.
viciously
I'm talking
in that
about
statement.
Nori and Kerkez completed way more games than Lewis Kelly. So
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm saying what you're saying.
Sorry, my bad. When I was shaking my head, I remember that actually we started the season off with.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is that Nori played more games than Lewis Skelly, so probably has more games going in his favour.
100%, I agree with you. But that's what 100% I agree with you.
There's just no need to shake your head at that. It's just ridiculous. You're sat there with an agenda in your head that Skelly is this good because you support Arsenal. No, Olu. Don't sit there shaking. Yeah, but you're just shaking your head.
No, he didn't. He didn't. No, I think guys, hold on.
Martin, there are things that are opinion based, which we are open to discussing, but there are factual points that you shake your head at when there's factual evidence.
Let him respond, Dan. Olu didn't shake his head at this.
I shook my head.
He did. I'll go back and get it.
Wait.
Listen to me. I shook my head about the number of games he played. Which is why when you said, when we talked, and Mo said the 16, I was like, I forgot Calafiori started more games than him.
The thing about it, that Maizo Skelly's comparison with them, okay, let me tell you guys, Maizo Skelly comparison with Kerkez and Nori, stats are skewed because Maizo Skelly did not play 38 games as the rest of them. So that's why the stats is good.
That's what I was shaking my head about because I thought he had played more games. Then I remembered that.
Okay.
So that's exactly my point, is that you shook your head at that when you didn't need to. You just shook your head because you assumed wrong in your mind without looking at the numbers.
About the number of games he played. Don't
shake your head at it, Olo. Just go, right, oh yeah, fair enough.
That's why I admitted I was wrong.
I admitted he's wrong. That's why I admitted he's wrong.
I was wrong.
What's the point of doing that in the first place? It's actually just rude.
It's just rude. Because I literally said to you that I got it wrong. Because
Ollie, you make points, and I don't sit there shaking my head at you when sometimes they're way off. I don't sit there doing that. I respect what you have to say, and then I'll discuss it with you.
And that's why he admitted he's wrong. And that's why he said I was wrong.
On a factual point, you're sat there going,
because I thought he started more games.
Listen, he saw it, and he got it wrong.
Yeah,
that's what.
I want to go back to the Kerkez and Ait Nouri. I actually think that still Ait Nouri for City fits like a glove. They have a left back that goes forward, bombs forward. He's not the greatest defensively, but he's very good going forward, one of the best in the league. So City recruited Ait Nouri, and he suits their system. Gavardio is a good center back. My problem is the right side. Diaz has fell off a cliff a little bit. Stones is injured. They have Rico Lewis and Matthias Nunes. So that right side is a little bit weaker than the rest, like Arsenal, like Chelsea. Chelsea, no, because they don't have a right center back because of Reece James. That is the problem with City in that side. But from that point, going forward, I think City, if Rodri is fit, City are as good as anyone else. Anyone else. The creativity, I'm yet to see where the creativity is coming from, to be honest with you.
Man City.
For Man City.
Yeah, I think, but you just said it there. Right centre back, right back, and goalkeeper. Like that's three of the 5 defenders that are an issue.
Also, could we say that?
And that's why I put City at third, Jamie. Behind Arsenal.
Yeah, that's fine.
I put City at third.
Can I just say, don't we have to look at City a bit like Arsenal, where like creativity is more about the system than just the individual players themselves? Like I think Arsenal's creativity is poor when our system doesn't work well, and our creativity is better when it works well. And City, Pep is the genius behind it. So ultimately, if he figures out a system, regardless of who he plays there, they create loads, right? So it's more about a system than when you analyze Man City. I think it's more about a system than looking at it as just, is Cherky better than Wirtz or it's this better than that, because they just know how to play in a system that Pep builds.
I actually checked something.
I think people look at Manchester City as Manchester City last season, and they're in for a shock. We're very, very different. We're changing a lot of things. We brought in Pep Reinders, Colo Touré, James French have really got to grips with this squad, and we are changing. He shows you straight away we're bringing in a keeper like Donnarumma. We ain't going to the tippy-tappy at the back anymore. We are going for players that want to be direct and really be quick with it. And that's what we're going to do. Against Palmeiras, we were playing 2 at the back. People on about our fullbacks. Our fullbacks were halfway up the field. We were 2 at the back.
I don't think you'll move away from the tiki taka because that's Guardiola's philosophy.
Thank you so much. I keep saying
He's never
that.
changed.
He's
never. And the one thing I would say about Guardiola is he's all like in my lifetime probably the best manager I've ever seen in terms of his ideology, what he gets out of his players. But he's only successful when he has players that are at the highest level because of how he wants to play. And I just don't think that this Man City team has what he needs, especially in defensive areas. I think going forward, they'll definitely get goals. They'll definitely create chances because that's how he plays. But I think the issue he's always had to come up with and try and solve is how to nullify teams getting at them defensively. And I just don't think he's figured that out with this Man City team this season. I think if he maybe stays on with Man City, if he signs another contract and extends, then he might do it. But I don't see how he's done that this year.
What's that based on? Don't say last season because last season's last season. What's that based on?
Based on Mateus Nunes at right back, 3 centre backs that can't stay fit, and a goalkeeper who's been declining for the last 2 years.
Right, but just again, right, Edison is going.
But
guys, there is breaking news actually that is kind of very strange. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
everyone. The Rodrygo, Arsenal are ready to offer actually a bid for Rodrygo. That is just popped all over my Twitter. Can someone confirm that from the people? Like, can you guys look this up? Is that true though? It popped over my Twitter like crazy.
Until I see a player holding a shirt in a press conference.
Yeah. I've got nothing, mate. I've got nothing on there.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
I don't believe nothing until I see it. Yeah.
It's all the Arsenal big accounts, all the Arsenal FC Extra, FC Zone, and all these stuff are like Rodrygo bid of 95 million. It's like there's no sources, but they're all saying the same.
Yeah, but you can't see what the sources are.
Maybe I'm wrong, but they just popped suddenly. I refreshed my Twitter and I realized that this is. I'm sorry. Apologies, guys, for this. It's just breaking news. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna go back to the City talk because I want to speak Arsenal as well before we finish. Because Jamie and Martin.
No, that's what I'm asking. Sorry, go back. So you said Edison's going to go.
Yeah. But he hasn't gone yet. And like even like you said, they're gonna go in, bring in Donnarumma, and they're gonna be different, and they're gonna pump it long, and they're gonna be like direct. But that's not how Guardiola has ever played. So why is he gonna change his?
But also, can I actually say one more? Can I say one more thing?
That's what I'm saying.
But that's Martin. Just give me a second. I'm gonna say something that will settle this. I'm gonna settle it. And Guardiola has never won not playing his football.
Exactly.
So I have no evidence and I have no substance behind that. If Pep Guardiola changes, he will win.
What was Edison doing with 4 or 5 assists on last season?
But that's the whole point. Ederson is good with his feet.
Goalkeeper.
Yes, but he did it by booming it down the field.
But
nothing with that.
But hasn't Pep changed his system since like he was at Barcelona? Like the way he played at Barcelona and the play he plays at City now are so different that he's evolved as a manager. So there's no
100%
from evolving.
But they're both
but there is one factor, guys. There is one factor that never changed. Manchester City. Doesn't matter if they're awful. Doesn't matter if they're good. Doesn't matter if they're bad. They always have the highest possession percentage in the league. Always. That doesn't change. That means they still want to keep the ball. Want to keep the ball means more passes, more percentage in possession. If Pep Guardiola changes that, I have no evidence to suggest he's going to win. I have no evidence.
Then that might be the case. But next year, what you got last year or the year before was a lot of sideways passes. A lot of sideways, right-footed, 5 yards, left foot, 5 yards. Possession with possession. What you are going to get now, and we've seen it within pre-season, get that ball forward as quick as you can. Get that ball going. Because for the last 2 years, we remember it used to be you lose the possession on the Pep, you get the ball back in 8 seconds, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That sort of declined over the last 2 years. This summer, from the club world coming to there, that's what we were now doing.
But doesn't
So you
didn't-
so you
didn't-
think
didn't-
at the
sorry.
end? So okay, I want to move to Arsenal for the last like
I'm
5
gonna ask him this
10 minutes.
question. I was question that. But didn't KDB move the ball very quickly forward?
Pardon?
Sorry, wasn't KDB always moving the ball forward very quickly? Like, you always seems to me as the one who takes the
Last season,
the
no.
risky pass.
I'll be honest. KDB was done last year. He was finished last year. KDB.
Mm.
Apart from smaller games, KDB was done.
Fair.
I know
But
that's conversation a lot of City fans don't like having, but he was. There's a reason we're letting him go.
No, he was. I agree with you there. I think, yeah, he
Okay,
wasn't.
let me do
this
this super chats because I wanna get to the Arsenal section at the end of the show, please. And literally, Craig Hope and Keith Downing have said that they may be forced to sell Isak after getting Wissa and move Gordon to the 9 until January. Terry, I've read that.
There's no way that they sell Isak and play Gordon in the 9.
Wissa in the 9.
He's just said, what's he said there? He
Move
said
Gordon
move
Move
Gordon.
Gordon to the 9.
New Gordon now.
He said move Gordon there. You can't tell me that Newcastle are okay, but yeah, well, let's sell our best striker and go with Gordon until January. Not a chance. The only way they do sell him, which I don't think, is if they bring in a 9, like top 2. Even Liverpool fans will tell you that, surely. Like, they're not going to go, all right, well, we'll just move parts around to accommodate him leaving. I can't see that.
If Arsenal could play Marino up front, they can play.
Only team available for Isak is Liverpool. Liverpool is the only team Isak wants, period. Also, Liverpool can't afford him, so they made 25 million while we're here. Liverpool can afford him now. Liverpool have the money to pay. They just don't want to pay the 150 million. Simple. It's very simple, people. Liverpool are going to get him cheaper. 130 million, and the deal is going to be done. Rodri's fit and available. City are favorites.
No. No way.
No chance.
No
Okay.
way.
Champions advantage, always.
Mr. Jamie Story, you look cute in the red shirt. Mr. Jamie, your skin glowing. Dana Collin will come back. Mr. Jamie, your
Donna,
lips.
where
Oh,
you
this
been,
is-
man?
this
I've
is
been
very-
missing you on my show as well, man. Bring them super
Donna.
chats on her mind, man.
Yeah.
Where's the love?
No, Mr. Jamie. No,
It's the accent, isn't it? Jamie's one.
He's new to this
Jamie's
game.
one of them.
He
That's my
doesn't know.
fake account.
Saka was playing through injury, yet people bantered him 100%. Top players don't get the leeway. Foden, Palmer,
Foden gets the
Saka.
leeway.
Not last season he didn't.
leave
Not last
Foden
season he
alone.
didn't. Man City have most guys. Man City have most clean sheets and plus joints, least goal conceded with Arsenal at 18 in the second half of the season. 5 of those in one game. Issues, yes, but exaggerated. Probably you're right. I think people exaggerate a little bit.
Those 5 in 1. Sorry,
Seasons
those,
are only second halves. Yeah, you're right.
but also those 5 in 1 games. Who was it
So
against?
what about
Can I tell you Man
By
City
the way,
and Arsenal.
factually, say we're the most informed team from January to May.
Actually, I'm
So
just
what
going
I
to say
would say
that.
in response to that, then, so Everton are going to be in top 4 this season, then, based on since Moyes came in.
And I think as well, like Liverpool, like they were up there, but they were out partying for the last 4 games of the season. So that's 12 points automatically gone that they would have got otherwise.
That's your
I
fault.
think,
man.
guys, I think the season starts tomorrow and we'll see. City defensive issue was because of the defensive injuries at all season. No surprise when 5 defenders all got injured the same time City struggled. The City
they're
had a lot of
injury-
injuries
they're
and
injury
nobody's
prone.
talking.
Yeah,
Yes,
but they-
I
they also-
agree with this.
They also played Gundogan, who's an old man and should not be playing football in the Premier League.
100%.
It's not just one issue. There's multiple
Where
issues that
will
affect the
Turkey
last
play?
season.
Will they do Rodri, Reinders, Turkey? Will that be the 3, or what way would Turkey play higher up?
I think the front three, he'll play in the front 3, but I think the front 3 will be mobile and around. I don't think there'll be set positions.
Where's Foden playing?
Leave Foden
10
alone.
right wing, 10 right wing.
Okay.
Because like you have
Bernardo
I think
that.
make-
Where's
Marmoush
Foden?
as well.
No, you
Marmoush has
do
to
realize
start.
Foden's going to sign a new contract and be the 2nd or 3rd highest paid player at City soon.
Oh, well,
It's a good job City value him.
So
No one
I
else-
wanna-
you
I
pay
wanna
the money, innit? You pay the
Yeah.
money. It's what it is.
City
Can I
value
ask
him.
a
No one else
question?
does.
Let me ask you a question.
Bernardo Silva's got captaincy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's going to play a hell of a lot of football.
Actually, they say
No,
he might not
no,
play
you've got
at all.
No, I think he'll
No,
drop.
because
He'll
Vinny
get dropped.
Company and Gundogan were captain. Yeah, actually, in
He
a way,
didn't
when you get captain, it's
Kyle
a bit of the
Walker was the
opposite.
captain. He didn't start every game,
You,
which
you
is.
sort of start. It's more for the voice in the dressing
I saw
room.
that as well, Joe, and then I've been proven wrong. He gave
fair.
me like a lot of evidence
if you're
that the captain doesn't start.
and get the captain's armband, it's kind of
It
telling
means
you
it's game
you
over.
can
Guardiola
also-
changes.
Yeah.
Guardiola changes his system information every year, constantly. Fair enough, but he still plays position-based football. James, he still like it doesn't change, guys. Tiki-taka, pass the ball around. Martin is wrong. We still play out from the back, but an extra man drops to compensate for Donnarumma on the ball weakness. Reinders and Shirky did in the Club World Cup.
No,
Okay.
that wasn't my
It's a
point.
City.
My point was we played long ball last season. Newcastle, Chelsea.
Also-
Dan, you know that the way we played against your lot up at the Etihad, there was no tick-tacker at that point. It was see you later, and Haaland was.
Okay, so great. So
Easy
I'm gonna
body
ask the
strength.
question. I want to move on, but I want to ask a simple question to everyone. So Ederson is the one playing the ball long because teams like Chelsea were pressing Man City because the fear factor is not there. So what happens now when teams like Chelsea or Arsenal, Liverpool press Man City? Who's going to play the long ball? Donnarumma?
Trafford. Donnarumma, why not?
That's what people are asking. That's why
Dan. They said that Donnarumma is going to be the starter and Trafford is only going to start until they get Donnarumma.
Donnarumma will play that. It's not like he hasn't done that.
You're not
for
paying
PSG.
Donnarumma $300,000 a week set a bench.
Donnarumma. I think people are being a little bit harsh on Donnarumma here. I know we spoke about him the other day as well, but Donnarumma is a player that's been capable of doing that for PSG. He's not like absolutely washed with his feet. He can play. He'll make mistakes because Donnarumma will make mistakes. It's in his game, but he'll also be a top keeper and arguably might be a better traditional keeper than what Ederson is.
He's definitely a better traditional keeper, but I think the accuracy that Ederson plays the ball, I don't think Donnarumma has 50% of
Pep's
that.
obviously decided that he's willing to, risk versus reward here and remove that slight benefit that Ederson has on the ball, clearly being one of the best keepers in the world. He'll take a little bit of a hit there to make sure that more often than not, the ball is stopping his net.
And I mean, I agree as well. I mean, also you're talking about like Donnarumma isn't like making mistakes all the time. I think what people tend to do is they overinflate what they think a keeper or player does, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
He makes isn't that massive. And let's be real, like Ederson is the best passing goalkeeper that Pep has ever had. But he's had goalkeepers who can't pass as good as him and still made it work, right? Like Valdez was good passing, but he wasn't like what Edison is.
He's not like Ederson. Ederson is a midfielder. Like I've never seen something like Ederson.
For God's sake, man.
I think Valdez had unbelievable levels of concentration. And I think that's what kept him going for so long with Pep and that team is that he never had to touch the ball, but when he came into the game, he was ultimately alive at all times. I think Alisson does a fantastic job.
Also, he had PK as well, who was like fantastic at setting up the attack, so he didn't have to do that. And Pep will find a way. So let's not just like.
Yeah, I'm never gonna rule out Pep, to be honest. Arsenal latter EPL stages, late goals in due to UEFA Champions League. Liverpool were in the Ibiza, and there was 4 games left in the Prem.
That is outrageous.
Same again this year, boys.
So the game was in 48 hours, and we're getting Arne Slot dancing in Ibiza with the DJ, and I'm like, what the fuck? So Arsenal though, Dan, Arsenal, you ruling them out or not ruling them out? Give them less chances than last season of winning.
No, more actually. As much as I think Liverpool are favourites and are probably more favourites than they were at any point in the last couple of seasons, I think Arsenal are definitely a stronger side, and I think Arsenal are probably more prepared and more well equipped this season than they have been for the last couple. I think Gyökeres it looks to be a fantastic bit of recruitment, and I think is probably the right choice for them going into a title challenge season that I think is like incredibly important for Arteta to get it perfectly right this season. If not, I think his job's on the line.
I like it. I like this. Does anybody else disagree with this? That Arsenal have more chances?
I agree. I've always said that this is Arsenal's best team in the past
under Arteta
3 or 4 seasons. Yeah, going into a title, a league,
I agree with this.
A new league. I'll ask. I mean, if I ask the question, what are Arsenal's weaknesses to fix? Most people just
striker,
say
left wing.
No, to
left wing.
So if we're now in a stage where you can identify just one position as the problem position, and in reality, you could say it's not the most important position on the pitch, then I would have to say Arsenal are more equipped this season now than last season, where you can say there were 2 or 3 glaring mistakes in terms of, for example, we all said if Saka went injured, there was no one to replace him. We had no striker. The left wing was still a problem. So I would say, as constructed, as a team at least, I would say this is the best squad. Sorry, as a squad, this is the best squad Arsenal have going into the season. But that never means that you're going to win the league, because there's more than just having a good squad to win a league.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal's biggest weakness is probably not like the players they have now. It's kind of like that mental block of getting over the line. Because I think last year, I think they did take a step in the right direction, getting to the semi-final of Champions League and beating Real Madrid. I think that was good. But I think now it's more like, right, we have the players. There's no excuses. Like, we need to do it. Do you know what I mean? We need, like, there can't be a mistake. And I think that will come with pressure, and it's about how they deal with that pressure. I think that would be the biggest question mark they'll have this season, rather than the players that are there. Because I think the quality, I think you could say that most of their players would get into any team in the Premier League.
I think that's why Gyökeres was so important to bring in as a striker over the likes of Sesko or someone like that, because he's just won 2 leagues back to back. He's been in a team that have been focused on winning, and I think that was such an important thing to add to that Arsenal squad, Jamie. I think you're bang on. I think they need
spark. You mean he adds a spark
a winning mentality for the dressing room. I think they've got players in there that have won things, but I really do think they need more of it, and they need Arteta needs to go early and needs to get the League Cup done, because they need another buy-in. It's been so long since they won something, and I know they've gone close. I think they need another buy-in, and they need it as soon as they can.
If they win the Carabao Cup in the middle of the season, I think that will galvanize the team for sure. 100%. 100% will galvanize the team. But again, I'm looking at Odegaard. I'm looking at the recruitment. Is Nwaneri good enough backup? I don't know. I think we'll see.
Yeah, he's quality. And do you know what? And even if he isn't, right, and they sort of rotate him and he gets limited sort of minutes, I think what they've done is they don't know what Saka's going to be like in terms of coming back this season. Obviously, he returned late last season, but off the back of an injury and rest, he needs it. They've got players now that they can rotate. Like Ollie was saying, they can swap players in and out that are more suited to the position and the role that Arteta's asked him to do. I don't think you're going to see anything as drastic as a midfield having to play up top this season, or the sort of inversions that we saw from some of the defenders. That'll happen tactically, but it won't be something that's like Arteta has to rely on.
Can I have my wild take of the season? Kai Havertz is going to be very good for Arsenal this season.
He won't play.
In the gym, or
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
Wait, hang on. Has he ever not been good for Arsenal? Because I think he has been good.
He has been good, but not very good. He has been in and out. You remember the Man United game when he missed 3 chances and he got knocked out of the cup?
So to make him, because I just want to be clear on that statement, is he going to be like very good because he's consistent in every game he plays?
No,
I think that's what's missing for me with Havertz.
I think the competition that Eucharist will get fire in his belly in a World Cup here. Because remember, Germany now has 2 different strikers that are maybe with him in the German league, in the German national team. I think that the competition that Eucharist will give him fire in his belly, and I think he's going to try to go back to the Leverkusen more focused, because I think Havertz sometimes in games drifts out into the physical battle instead of football. He goes for players' bodies. The ball is going long. He's trying to get into the physical battle instead of focusing on the ball and focusing to play the game. And I think now Kai Havertz will try to go back to his best. People, because of the Chelsea spell, forget that Kai Havertz was the next big German thing.
Do you know what I think works in Havertz's favour massively this season? I haven't really heard anyone discussing it. Is I think Gyökeres is the type of player that allows Havertz to thrive, because I think it takes the defence's attention away from him. And I think Havertz, when he was at Leverkusen, he was allowed to have a little bit more of a roaming role, allowed to pick up the space in dangerous areas. And I think that's ultimately what Gyökeres will allow Havertz to have at certain moments this season is time away from the defense and without getting caught up in that battle.
But he wouldn't be in their best team, would he? Like, he wouldn't.
I think on his day, I think he could be. I think
he plays against the big teams and stuff. Havertz, I think he still gets used a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think you're more looking like say if he gets, I don't know, he got 9 goals. I think last year was their top scorer. Maybe he'll be okay, but I just think everyone's going to be looking at Gyökeres, so he won't really get that much attention.
So say that again. 9 goals to the top scorer.
Oh, yeah, last season. 9 goals. No Arsenal player reached 10 goals last season in the Premier League.
That's crazy. And you know,
They both got big injuries, didn't they? To be fair,
Yeah.
like,
The bit,
they're
like,
two high scorers.
Saka obviously, and Odegaard, who were the two main goal threats last year.
So what you're saying to me is that if we can go from a team that can get 9 goals and still finish second to a team that can get top score can be 9 goals to a team whose top score can be 20 goals, then we should win the league, right?
I think you were 17 goals worse off than the season before.
And I'm doing football maths.
Or 17 off Liverpool. So take Havertz out and then put Gyökeres in. Saka obviously coming back from his injury. I think you need to make up that 25 goals to be within with a chance, because I think that's the one question mark over Arsenal last season was that goals wise and going forward, you looked a little bit too easy to defend against.
It was terrible.
Yeah, so I think that would be the big question.
Just in response to what you said about their best team, I don't necessarily think when you draw up their whole 11, he sort of gets into it either, even though I think there are probably players that get into that team that aren't quite on Havertz's level on a good day. But I think Arteta likes him, and we've already seen him do it. He'll put him into like a square peg in a round hole with Havertz. Yeah. He'll do it. If he has to play him in midfield to get him onto the team sheet, I think he'll do it. I think.
But I fear that, Dan. I fear that. Dan, don't be shocked. Hold on, Olu. Give me 1 second, Olu. I think just because this is a very important, I fear that.
You fear that?
I fear that for Arsenal. Trying to make places for players when they don't fit. Not playing your best player because you like a player.
And that's arguably been their issue. And I think they've recruited in a way that might allow them to go away from that a bit. But I still think Arteta's loyalty to some players will mean that he'll squeeze them into the team when he probably doesn't have to.
I've made peace with the thought that at some point this season, Havertz is going to start on the left wing.
I actually said that, and I got slaughtered. Because he did it for Chelsea, he did it for Leverkusen, and I think that can happen.
It's just to get him starting, isn't it? And then he'll obviously drift away from that because Gyökeres loves to sort of drift out to that left.
It'll be a lot.
You know what is going to happen, Dan? Havertz is going to start on the left, and then he's going to drift inside, and Gyökeres is I know.
It could work, couldn't it? I know we're sort of. That's a great point, Olu, and I think we all sort of could see that potentially happening. It wouldn't be something that's far fetched, would it?
No. I think unless Arsenal find a left winger, there is news everywhere, or any left winger. There is news that Arsenal want an out and out left winger if they shift Trossard, and I think if they get a left winger, that left winger is going to start 100%. Liverpool starting. XI is the best in the world, but their backups won't even get top 4. For City and Arsenal, their drop-off in their squad isn't as big as Liverpool.
Can they be the best in the world if they didn't win the Champions League? Because technically, it wouldn't be PSG, and then
Chelsea. Why is Jamie kind of astonished at this comment? Jamie has this look on his face.
He's trying to comprehend. Liverpool starting 11 is best in the world, but their backups won't even get top 4. No, I don't think that's true. I think
Liverpool are trying to improve that is true as well.
Tsimikas.
Boys, I'm going to shoot. I've got live to do. Enjoy your weekend.
See you later, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Good luck, Joe.
Bye. Peace, man.
Snap, Mo. I'm going to have to jump on.
I know. Go ahead.
See you later,
Martin.
See you, Martin.
Yeah, I think.
By the way, there's no pressure. If anyone has to go, you just let me know. It's fine.
I'm going to go after I make this brilliant point.
Yeah. Yes. Brilliant point.
No, I think this is the whole thing. We can always do if, buts, maybes. Liverpool have the best team in the league right now, and they're going to go out with the best team in the league. So, obviously, you can deal. Same with Man City last year. You have to deal with the issues that come. So, if Liverpool get a big injury to Van Dijk, then they're probably going to be absolutely weakened unless they get, say, Guehi in, who can come in and potentially replace him. But when you look at it and say, okay.
I actually disagree with you. I'm sorry, Jamie. Liverpool currently you don't have the best team in the league. The team is not only starting 11. We learned that from Arsenal, from Chelsea, from Man City. I actually disagree with you.
We do the best
11. No. The best team is not only the best 11. See?
What do you mean?
Okay.
I see what you mean.
We have learned that last season when Odegaard got injured. We've learned that from Chelsea when Enzo had the surgery, when Lavia got injured. On paper, these players were supposed to be brilliant. That doesn't happen often. That what happened to Liverpool last season, having everyone, the majority of your spine fit, that doesn't happen often. So when I say the statement of someone has the best team in the 38 games for teams that supposedly are going to go far in the Champions League and far in the Cups, I would have to argue that when I say the best teams, I would have to include the backups. Who's going to come in if this guy needs a rest? If this guy, and currently, you might have the most balanced starting 11, but currently, before Isak and Guehi, for example, you basically have 3 forwards and Chiesa.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I cannot say that is the best team. For example, the defense, if Van Dijk or Konate get injured, you're really stepping in to play Indo as a center back or Leone, who's an 18 years old. So I can't make that statement like you, right? Frimpong and what's his name? And Conor Bradley, are they the best right backs? I would argue that Timber and Ben White both would start over them at right backs. Reece James might start over them at right back. Your left back, Kirkes, is great. Robertson, you have the cover there. But I would argue that your team, right? You are assuming, Jamie, that everyone is fit. But we learned last season, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal really have key players injured for long times. Chelsea played Neto up top. Neto.
Yeah.
Up top.
And also people are saying that what most talking about is a squad. That's not a squad. A squad is 22, 24 players. A team is the 18 you take on.
Exactly. That's
Sunday
the word
or
team,
Saturday.
not a squad. Team.
So it includes the substitutes. And if your substitutes lack, then theoretically you've got the best. You might say you've got the best first 11. But if we go down, like Arsenal's substitutes last year were so bad. I was just like, I can't say we've got the best team anymore. So I think we have to extend the team to the subs that have to come in
as well,
during the game as well.
Liverpool, hang on, Liverpool's aren't that bad though, and they're actively, I think, have already purchased some of their backups and are potentially trying to like concrete in on Isak, get that done. That makes Ekatike someone that could be an option for rotation, even though he might have cost 80 million or whatever. He'll probably not be starting over a guy that costs double him. And then in terms of, like Jamie's saying about Mark Guehi, that if they do believe Konate could be challenged, Guehi comes in. If not, Guehi obviously pushes them to another level. They've done it with Mamadashvili. They've got 2 players for both their fullbacks now. They've got an extra midfielder that they didn't have last season in there. They're going to have another forward or at least 2 on the bench of real top quality by the time the season.
Then I agree with you. But that's people are talking about today now without Guehi and without Eze.
Even today, they still have an incredibly good team that they can take with their substitutes, with players injured. I think they're, like Jamie said, probably defensively is their biggest weakness in terms of.
But I think they're trying to obviously like resolve those 2 issues that they feel like they have
100%.
because they obviously sold so many players. It feels like because they brought so many in that like you feel like they should be set right now, but they've obviously sold as well. I think if you actually go through the team, let's just say right, Isak and Guehi come in, right? I think you have Mamadashvili, Guehi, Bradley, Robertson, Treniani, Szoboszlai probably dropped to the bench. Then you have Ekatike and then Rio and Gamoa.
What about
that's
Curtis
their
Jones and Elliott?
Curtis Jones, and then Elliott is probably going to be sold.
Oh,
but like,
fair,
and then Curtis Jones.
So fantastic.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I think like you're looking at that
That's
and you're saying, okay,
good,
there's 2 players. There's only 2 players in the
league. Then it's the best.
But you're saying, but then you're saying it's only 2 players the difference that are saying that there's a difference between them from being like the best team in the league and like being
I'm going to tell you.
An average
let me give you. I can give you an example, Jim. You have Ekatike, Salah, and Gakpo starting currently, right? If one of them drop forms, get injured, who's going to start up front? You have Rio and 16 years old.
He looks unbelievable.
And you have Chiesa. That's all you have. In defense, currently, you have Konate and Van Dijk. If one of them gets injured, you got Gomez, who was injured already. And you have an 18 years old. These two lines, and I'm talking about that one of the most important lines in Liverpool's way you play, really lack depth. You really lack depth there. Massive.
I don't think they lack depth.
They solve it with 2 signings then. Can I interrupt? Sorry.
Yeah.
They solve them with 2 signings only. You get Guehi, you get Isak, sold. Because that adds a lot of weight.
Hence why they're putting so much financial value
100%.
on those players, right? They're willing to pay over 100 and 50 million potentially for Isak if that deal gets done, or something crazy. And Guehi obviously is one of the most sought after English centre backs. But I actually think that even without those two players, they've got the chances of all of those players being injured at the same time is obviously minimal as well. It takes a really unfortunate injury hit season for that to happen. I agree with what you're saying. Injuries will happen, and to get the base 11 fit and available all the time is also rare. Liverpool got fortunate last season, but I think you'll find a balance somewhere in the middle most seasons that you're going to have a number of those players fit and available at a time. Or if the worry for me is if, someone like Salah is to go, I then worry there about whether or not at the moment it's Harvey Elliott, isn't it? Probably that comes into that. But he had an unbelievable summer.
But we also know Salah's going to be off to the AFCON in December?
And it's 6 weeks. If Egypt
I seen it as potentially only going to miss 6 games if they get to the final. The way it works out.
Is there a chance? Is there a chance that like Frimpong plays in that position?
100%. Yes. They already said that. Dan. They already said that
in his press conference.
That's what I mean. So that's okay. They might lose some goals there, but who knows? Whatever they do, they might bring those goals in elsewhere on the pitch for whilst that Salah absence period happens. I think their squad is definitely good enough to compete, even with certain absences throughout the season. If they lose like 5 or 6 of their best players, any team's going to struggle. But I think they've built out a pretty good squad. I think they're going to be all right.
Yeah, I think Wirtz as well. There's talk of him potentially playing like left wing, or he has played as a false 9 as well in some preseason games. So then you could have Szoboszlai come in and they kind of play like a almost 4-man midfield and kind of 2 inverted wingers. So that's another option. But these are the questions that Slot will have to answer. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just like 100%. As we get to see all these new players, there's going to be question marks over like how, even like defensively, how they've set up so far. I think there's probably question marks about that.
Yeah. I know you have to go. The defensive setup for Liverpool is completely different than what we've seen last season. Sometimes it switches to 3 at the back with Frimpong being the winger, Kirk is staying.
I wondered that if you bring
more like Chelsea, Dan. More like Chelsea, Dan. More like Chelsea, then. When Cucurella stays at the back and then Malo Gusto in the PSG.
Because of what Chelsea did to Liverpool when Slot praised them so highly last season, he probably looked at that and thought it's definitely something that can work in certain games.
What are you doing in my chat? Can you get out of my chat? Isak, Wirtz, Ekitike, hello. We still saying AFCON.
Hussam,
Isak.
And also, Hussam, you always want to talk about how great Salah is, right? Which I agree is great. So we can still also see you.
Jamie. See you, Jamie.
We're also allowed to bring it as a point that if Salah is the best player in the league and in the world, according to you, then him going will be a issue, right?
I'm not sure if there is I want to switch from Liverpool a little bit, and then Guehi, Liverpool not negotiate with his. Can someone enlighten me here?
Liverpool not negotiating with his interest. Rotates with different styles. We Konate. Top clubs need top players. Players need top.
100%, McGregor. We're not saying that, but we presented the argument about the game time and Konate being much better. McGregor, thank you so much, but again, it depends.
I think Mark Guehi is just in a specific situation for this season. I think if it was any other season, you might say take the move, do it. But because of it being a World Cup year and wanting to play and wanting to impress a relatively new England manager, I think you're gambling with your place in that squad if you go to a team where you're probably not nailed on minutes and you are competing against, obviously a guy that's first on the team sheet for France, for the Netherlands, and then probably for England. And you'll go to Real Madrid and you'll find like 5 players all rotating and all starting for the national teams. I do get that, but ultimately, I think Guehi can get that move after that summer and just go there, and it wouldn't really disrupt his career too much. You got to be careful with a move like that.
Yeah, will Slot be more controlled or open next season? Much open, AMT, to answer the question. I'm not sure if you guys have to go. Much open, yes.
I'm cool. I'm good.
I'm good.
I want us to talk about Chelsea. Why are you laughing? I think you're going to be the surprise, dark horses of this season. It all depends on.
I think we might be a level above that. We won the Club World Cup.
What can you define?
Because I think if Newcastle won the Premier League, they might be considered dark horses because no one really put them even in the conversation, and they probably weren't expected to. Chelsea have beaten PSG. They've obviously brought in some real talent again. And I think there's an air of confidence around the side now. And I think some people are really sort of starting to put Maresca up into a different level of where he was when he first got the job, right? So I don't think there can be dark horses because I don't think they're coming out of nowhere and no one saw them coming, sort of thing, right?
So the definition of dark horses. So maybe you are the leopard in the tree.
They might be the surprise package, but yeah, I think Chelsea are probably in the conversation to be in the top 3 teams in the Premier League and should be fighting to be in that this season.
The thing about it is that it all depends on the centre back. Chelsea must sign a centre back.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
You're not going to go with the Sassy, Shalaba, and Tosin.
They think Badashile or obviously today
Renato Veiga. Now, yesterday, Renato Veiga is going to stay.
Yeah,
I think that is the right profile that Chelsea are looking for as well. A player that has the ability to play in midfield, centrally can help build up, left-footed. I think he ticks all the boxes that they're actually looking for to go and replace Levi with for a period of time. But I think this actually works for both parties quite well. I think he can stay at Chelsea until Levi is fit. Then he can have his move if he wants to. He'll get game time, he'll get minutes, and he looks like a decent player. The only issue there is potentially a breakdown in relationship between him and Maresca. We don't know what happened because he kind of come in very, very
I remember
left.
that. Yeah.
So is there a breakdown between the two? But I think when you look at a profile and the type of player Chelsea would have to go out and get, I think he ticks most of the boxes.
All the boxes. Colwell, he played for Juventus. He's big. He's good on the ball. He wants to play centre back. Every box.
And he's wanted by a number of top clubs in the world.
Atletico Madrid.
Dortmund.
Right, then.
He obviously Portugal want him as playing as a defender week in, week out as a central defender so that he can be ready for their World Cup bid as well. I thought he looked good before he left. I just thought they'd signed a left back and he wasn't, basically. And I actually don't think he's that bad.
So do you know what's interesting about Chelsea for me is, like, I think there is a momentum that I don't know when it triggered, but it triggered at some point end of last season. Because I remember, like, going towards the end of the games and you had that run, like, there were a lot of people who were very doubtful that Chelsea, at one point, I think there was a game you may have drawn or lost, and there's a lot of doubt that crept in with Chelsea fans. And, like, just this sort of switch got flicked. And then all of a sudden it went from being where you'd go, Chelsea are a decent team but can be beaten, to all of a sudden, like, oh my God, they're actually a really good team. And this is coming from, I always say this, I apologize for it multiple times. Someone who believed that Chelsea wouldn't make the top 4 until like 2026, 2027, based on the way they were buying players, right? This sort of unknown players that were obviously brought in to be moved on. And I always felt like Maresca's biggest issue was going to be in managing the egos in the dressing room, especially having such a big squad. Like, the job he did towards the end of that season and then carried that on through the Conference League, and then into the World Cup. I mean, that the Chelsea we have now and the Chelsea that we probably saw in April are two different teams from a mentality standpoint. And I think that's going to make them very, very dangerous this season. Like, I've said it now, there are 4 teams in my mind that would not surprise me if they won the league. I know we always try to make things into favourites / dark horses. In my mind now, there are 4 teams who have all got the capability of winning the league. It's going to be about if they can put it together. And I think Chelsea now have got as great a chance to put that together, because they even showed last season, the start of the season, they can go on runs. They can go on winning runs. If they've now got more goals in them, and João Pedro, as much as I want to see if how he's been playing is more of a flash in the pan or the norm for him. If it becomes the norm, they've solved a massive problem in scoring goals. The issue will be, of course, like we've all talked about, the defense. Can it hold together? Because right now, it's a bit of a sticky tape sort of job being put together with now losing Colwell. But I think for someone like me who was very skeptical about Chelsea, I believe that they will cause every team loads of problems, not only in the big games, but also in terms of their consistency through the league. And it's annoying because it's gone from a 33% chance in my head of Arsenal winning the league to now a 25% chance.
Can I tell you something for real, Olo?
Yeah.
All what you said is the substance why when people try to banter Chelsea and say Chelsea have zero chance of winning the league, I say you are just trying to banter. You have no substance behind it. Looking at the stats and the underlying numbers last season, Chelsea created the second highest chances, the third in position, the defense ended the season well. Sanchez, you look at the number of mistakes Sanchez made at the end of the season versus the beginning of the season, and they're like, boom, they're like suddenly they're like non-existent. His save percentages went up. I know they lost Colwell, but they're trying to solve it. I need to have the same energy that I have for Liverpool or Chelsea. I say that Liverpool are trying to solve the depth problem. Chelsea are trying to sign a centre back. They're getting Xabi Simons. I believe Chelsea have a chance of competing. And once I say the word compete, anything can happen. Once I say that word, you never know. Everyone said that Liverpool will finish third. Some people went and said that Liverpool finished fourth last season. Liverpool won the league fair and square, being the best team in the league. Right? Chelsea added tons of potential and tons of players that can score goals. Delap, Pedro, I think Gittins is going to be good. Xavi Simons can score goals. Andre Santos, what the fuck? He looks like so good. This guy Osegio, I didn't know about. Bro, Caicedo got subbed out and nobody noticed. He's not the same player. Playing, same passing, same like physical. I'm sure he's.
And
not
he's a
Caicedo.
kid as well. Like he's really
He's young.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can sit here. And also Kukurea. I don't like Kukurea. I just think he's a good player. But for Chelsea, very simple. Fits like a glove. He defends very well, one-on-one. He does his job to the T. And Maresca knows he's not asking him to like cross and be David Beckham up there. He's like, pass the ball, defend, bump forward, get in the 18 who need a goal. Late runs, very good. He scored like 5 goals last season or something.
Big goals as well. Not
big
just
goals.
like
He's asking him to do that job. You know what I mean? He's not asking him to be David Beckham or Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He actually might be the most perfect fit out of any player in the squad to the system. I think he could be on that level. I think he's the most perfect player for Maresca to have found. And like he probably had to do the least work with Maresca and with Cucurella and getting him to understand his role, because I think of his footballing education, I just think it sort of works perfectly with that. Whereas if you look at the right-hand side, I think Gusto and Reece, there's been way more work. If you look at like Palmer, there's been a sort of re-education process. The same with a number of, maybe Caicedo is probably one he didn't have to worry about too much. I think most of the others have been either players that have been interchanged. He's questioned the goalkeeper at times and how he's decided to play. The only one I don't think he's ever had to sort of even worry about is Cucurella. He's just sort of let him go, and he's only flourished and got better. And I can see
he
why.
changed the way he plays a little bit then. Yeah.
What do you mean he changed the way he plays? Because I still see a similar player to the one that I saw at Brighton,
Brighton.
the one I saw in Spain. I think there's the same players there.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
He plays the same wherever he is on the pitch. He just plays in a different area of the pitch.
But my point about this is that he turned him more of like a very sturdy defender. Very sturdy defender.
He was
always like
at
this.
Brighton, though. Yeah, because he won Brighton's Player of the Season because he was so good in defence. He would
was
play
he
in
a
that
left
role.
centre back or left wing back?
He played like the hybrid role under Potter, where he would play as a back three and then left back. I think Cucurella's understanding of the pitch and its spaces and where he needs to occupy, I think is really good. And I think that comes from his La Masia, like growing up there. That sort of Pep idea. Obviously, Maresca has similarities to Pep. They understood each other. I think Cucurella gets that. I think Cucurella is obviously a player who's got an unbelievable IQ when it comes to where he needs to be on the pitch. And I think there's a real sturdiness, maybe that's become more reapparent in this Chelsea side, because when he first came to Chelsea, I think that's what was missing. I think he come to Chelsea and it was like, hang on, this isn't the guy we all saw at Brighton, and the turnaround's been massive. But yeah, I think Olu, you said about Chelsea's mindset and confidence. I think that cannot be understated going into this season. I think even if you question where players are at, I think that like look at João Pedro. If he believes he's as good as what his performance suggests he might be, who knows what level they can go to, right?
I like this. It's like if he believes he can get like 15, 20 goals for Chelsea and have like a 10 assists, and he looks like it. He scored every single game. Every single game he played, friendly or not friendly. So why not? Like,
his finishing looks on another level to what we saw at Brighton.
Thank you so much. I was thinking.
I'm going to say this though. I will say this though. Gabby Jesus looked like a deadly finisher when he first started with us, and I remember thinking, "Oh, we've unlocked a new version of Jesus," and then his finishing became inconsistent. I'm not saying that's going to be Pedro. I'm just trying to.
I think what Chelsea have obviously got this season. I think for me, Chelsea's biggest areas of concern are probably centrally, and I also think the numbers that the wide players can put up. I think that's an area of concern for me because I look at how key that can be for other teams that have gone on to do more. I look at Arsenal. Saka obviously does an unbelievable job there of putting up numbers. I look at what United have brought strength in those sort of wide 10 areas. They've got players there that have got 30 or 30 goals combined last season in Cunha and Buemo. I look at City and players like Marmoush or players that they want to add into that team. I look at Chelsea and think our best player last season from wide areas was Madueke with 7 goals, and they came across 4 games. Have Chelsea done enough with their players in wide areas to sort of up that output? And that's the only thing I think Chelsea need to do better on. I think Esteval looks exciting. I think Pedro Neto looks like he can have more goals in him this season. But I do worry about someone like Gittins. I think he looks really exciting, but in the 2 friendly games I saw him in, his end product looked like a little bit to left to be desired, basically. So maybe like the likes of Xavi Simons coming in levels that up a bit.
And also, I mean, with Gittins, there's a bit of a Hudson-Odoi about him in terms of all the clicks
that's
in the
actually
world,
a really good comparison. To be
you
fair.
don't, you don't expect. So, yeah, but also I'll say this as well. Firstly, on what's his name, left back. Totally forgot his name now. Left back for Chelsea, Cucurella. Yeah. One thing that is so understated about Cucurella is that, which is such a good thing to have, is that he's a lockdown defender. Like you can trust now that you can put someone against Cucurella and say, right, 9 out of 10 times he's going to win that battle. And I'm saying that as someone who's seen him go against Saka, and Saka's a tricky customer. I mean, he's not Jinky McJinky, but his runs in behind and the intelligence of his runs is what makes Saka so good. And I've seen Cucurella essentially keep up with that. So that's a really understated strength of his that I think it just makes Chelsea more sturdy just having him there. But the other thing was that, and I've seen a few comments about, Chelsea had to rotate in the Conference League and now they're playing in Champions League. I think that's nonsense. Liverpool played in the Champions League last season and they didn't rotate; they still won the league. Arsenal, the 2 seasons that we competed, the one where we bottled the league, came in when we bottled because we played the Europa League, but the season after that, where we got the highest points we ever got and the most goals we ever scored, we also played in the Champions League. And last season we played in the Champions League. I'm sorry, I think people have this idea that, like, because players play two times a week, the level drop. Actually, no, players need consistency. So, and playing against strong competition increases your level as well because you're testing yourself. So, if you think that because Chelsea now have to play 2 games a week, that it means they're going to get worse, I think you're in for a rude awakening. I see them getting better because of that consistency. And factually and statistically, you can go and see all the teams that won the Champions League and see how they play in the league as well. They still keep the same level of standards and they don't change. Real Madrid don't change players between the Champions League and the league games.
Like the Conference League last season was a blessing that Chelsea could rotate to the amount that they could to keep players happy with minutes. But when you, like you say, when you look at the best teams in the Champions League, unless the game means absolutely nothing in terms of points or where we're at that stage, realistically, the rotation is never drastic. It might be like 3, 4, 5 players. But when you build a squad, like we were talking about, there's 20, 25 players to choose from. So I think you're right. The Champions League will only raise the level of what Chelsea are used to playing against. What do you get from a game when you go out to somewhere in Eastern Europe and you win 3, 4, 5, 6-0 as we did in the Conference League, or you have a really competitive game midweek, puts you on your toes, gets your level up. You then barely train because people forget this, by the way. When you play at a high intensity for midweek and at the weekend, you spend so little time out on the training pitch playing football. You'll be out there doing shadow work or you'll be out there doing preparation for the game at the weekend. But in terms of actually getting on the ball and playing, it will be limited. It won't be nearly as much as if you've got a whole week.
Yeah. At the same time, people will say that, oh my God, Chelsea have to play 2 games a week. Like Liverpool have 3 forwards currently and they're going in the Champions League and the Cups.
I remember
Liverpool have 2 defenders. That's it. Two center backs currently. You're not going to tell me that they're going to play Real Madrid in the Champions League playing Leone or Gomez, and you won't.
and the reason why
the
reason why I knew this was a massive fallacy was when Arsenal made it to the Europa League, and everyone said, "Oh, Arsenal has to play on Thursday and Sunday is going to be worse," and then we finished second, and essentially started off the season with the most points we ever did, right? And that's for me just made me realize that sometimes we build narratives that when the football's played does not match the narrative. In fact, most times it tends to be the total opposite of it.
It might be like a one-off occasion that everyone remembers. Oh, they had to rotate for that game, so that's why they lost, and everyone remembers that. But I think when you actually do go into it and you look, like the rotation, there's a comment there in the chat saying PSG rested their entire 11 in Ligue 1. They did towards the end once it had been wrapped up, and they were able to afford to do that. But they weren't doing that throughout the season because Dembele still scored an excessive amount of goals in that league, when he was also scoring and playing in the Champions League. So he wasn't like he wasn't playing and being rotated out with the whole 11. It doesn't happen that way. And it might be that one player tactically suits one game, so they'll play in that, and then they won't play the next game the week after in the Champions League because they might tactically not suit that game as much. You might need a more dynamic player than a player that gets on the ball, all that sort of stuff. Like the rotation element isn't chalk and cheese. It's not one or the other. It'll be different players for different occasions, and that's why squads are built in the way that they are. So players can go and rotate when they need to at different times.
And I think
but that's the problem.
For the people saying
want to build the resource in their head, they build a narrative in their head to make them feel better about their opinion.
I'll say this, right?
Same.
For the people who believe this, please just go and look at all the top teams which have won the league and have competed in the Champions League, if you've got time, and just go and see the starting 11s on a week-to-week basis. I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times, there would be pretty much, let's say, 7 or 8 out of the same players who play in the Champions League that play in a league game. Like this idea of rotating players does not happen. Chelsea last season was, and because they were in a competition that was so below the levels of the players, they could do that. But in reality, every team has to do the same thing. So there's
a number of different examples out there, Olu, of teams, and we were talking about this a little bit with Jamie and Liverpool earlier, of team, and Liverpool a good example last year, where they've used such a few amount of players on average in terms of what their squad entails of. Like I remember, I think it was maybe Conte's Chelsea was 16 players across the whole season. I think Simeone's done it with Madrid. Like there's a number of teams where they've used really limited numbers throughout the whole season, and the players are absolutely wrecked after the season, but they were just giving it their all and they couldn't afford to be dropped. But
Pep notoriously has a small squad for that reason, right? He doesn't go between So again, I think it's a coping mechanism, a fallacy that people create to make it seem like Chelsea would not be that good.
We'll see how it goes. But listen, people, I want to thank everyone. This is a long show, bro. It's a show before the season starts. I hope that everyone enjoys. I hope everyone enjoys tonight. I hope that everyone enjoys tonight, guys. And
can I say one last thing? Yeah. And this is something when we're doing every week. I asked ChatGPT and then Gemini, and there's more AI models out there, so we're not promoting them to predict the league. So Gemini, which is Google's, said Man United will finish 16th, which I found absolutely hilarious. But ChatGPT was a little bit more friendly to them, and he said they'll finish 7th, which I was like, okay, that's a little bit nicer. But what I'm going to do is each week I'm going to predict so ask it to predict the game coming up, and then we'll see what it looks like against the actual results. Because I think that'll be quite fun to see what predictions are versus the reality. But yeah, it was just funny that seeing United in 16th. I was like, yeah, AI doesn't respect Man United.
Maybe it knows something we don't in the data.
Yeah,
maybe. AI knows. Thank you, everyone that joined us. 2 likes away from 300. Appreciate everyone that joined us. I will see you guys soon. We're out of here.